Hello everybody and welcome to today's edition of the Wrestling Drive. Scratch that because we're gonna have a whole bunch of Wrestling Drive this weekend. It is Summerslam weekend, 4 for More right here in New York City. You got 4 straight days of WWE action. It's gonna be crazy, starting obviously with tomorrow night NXT Takeover, which I'll get to in a second. But if this is your first time downloading the Wrestling Drive, welcome aboard. I'm glad to have you guys checking us out. We are a semi-daily, I'd say, and not every single day, but most days, wrestling vlog, wrestling car vlog, if you will. I have a ridiculous amount of commuting that my job requires me to do, and so I pop on this here little gimmick, and we chat about pro wrestling and all things. You know, we lean a little WWE heavy, but we talk all things pro wrestling, all the big happenings that are going on. We're right here in New York City right now. I'm in the process of driving from my hometown here in Queens over to Brooklyn, New York. And we're gonna have a really fun weekend. We're gonna go through everything. We're gonna have predictions. There's gonna be SummerSlam predictions later today. We're gonna have NXT predictions, obviously, on this page, on the YouTube page if it's not already up there. There's a video previewing the Barclays Center and how it looks for SummerSlam. They always do a big to-do at the Barclays Center. They have for the last 3 years. Putting up a major big mural featuring all the big matches that are taking place at SummerSlam. So there's a video up about that. There's a couple of little retro videos that are going to be going up. We're going to have a whole bunch of really fun content up there, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Hope this provides you with a little bit of maybe a sister project for what you're doing over the weekend. It's an exciting time to be here in New York City, obviously, and it's fun. I'm glad WWE comes here every year for SummerSlam. They've created a major deal for each one now of their big 4 pay-per-views, and SummerSlam clearly is the #2 show. So a little rain this weekend, but not gonna hold us down. We're gonna still have a great time with this, and let's get into NXT Takeover. NXT Takeover will take place live from the Barclays Center tomorrow night, kind of the big official kickoff in terms of action for WWE this weekend. And NXT has, obviously they went through a pretty big rebuilding process after the draft. Pretty much everybody from NXT during the draft last year was taken. They had 6 guys that were brought up at the actual draft, but they had a bunch of guys prior to that, right around WrestleMania last year, and so they got pretty much just kind of spayed and neutered a bit in terms of how their roster was taken. So they've gone through a bit of a rebuilding process, but in doing so, in my opinion, have really done well. Very quietly, they suddenly have a really talented roster. And this has to do with a lot of different things. Yes, it has to do with a couple of really great acquisitions. Obviously, they have Drew McIntyre back over there. Obviously, they have Aleister Black over there, who was Tommy End on the Independents. And they have a variety of different guys to that caliber. Roderick Strong, the guys from Sanity. Those guys, those acquisitions, in my opinion, have been really big for NXT. That being said, though, they've also done a really good job in building up their own talent and giving their own talent kind of that platform to build up. Look at the guys like the Authors of Pain. Those guys are homegrown, right in the Performance Center, and they've been a part of some of the best matches on most of the TakeOver specials. So it's been a good mix, and now again, they have a ton of talent, so much talent that guys like Khasius Ohno, Roderick Strong, they're not even on the show. And just because of the fact that the TakeOver specials are usually only 2 hours long, and each match really is given that time to develop, and each match is given that time to play out. So because of that, there are a lot of talented dudes and women who are not on the show this weekend. But with that being said, the matches that are there, I think if they're given time, and I'm sure they will be given some amount of time, I think it could be a really fun little show, and I'm really looking forward to TakeOver tomorrow. I think TakeOver is usually sets the tone for the weekend, and in many a times make it really tough for the main roster guys to have to go out there and follow that. So let's get into the bit of the matches there. Obviously, the big match for the NXT Women's title. To me, this is the match. This is the biggest match of TakeOver. Asuka defending the title against Ember Moon. Asuka's just hit 500 days. I think undefeated. 500 days undefeated. Has also been women's champ. Maybe she's women's champ, I think, for that amount of time, too. Whatever it is, Asuka's still undefeated since debuting for the company. And remember, she really debuted right after Takeover Brooklyn in 2015. If you remember at that Takeover Brooklyn special, the big Takeover Brooklyn with Bayley and Sasha Banks, Asuka's sitting front row. Her and Nature Boy Ric Flair, her and all of the, I think it was a couple other legends, were sitting right there front row. She was listed as Kana. She debuted soon after that and has not lost. It's amazing. It's incredible. She continues to have the best match on the show, and she's on the show, at least one of the top matches. And I got to give her a lot of credit. She's been a stabilizing force. Sooner rather than later, I expect her up on the main roster. But while she's down there, it's become kind of this deal where it's, wow, is this the time that Asuka finally goes down? I don't think it is. I'm predicting Asuka retains here. I know that they've been building up Ember Moon for a while. Ember Moon probably came the closest at TakeOver Orlando for WrestleMania weekend. Came the closest to taking Asuka on and getting that title. But Asuka kind of cheated to get that way out of there. So now it's kind of built up that Ember Moon's finally the one to take her down. But I just don't see it. I think Asuka's going to keep that title. I think they have a really good thing going with Asuka. I don't really feel that much momentum behind Ember Moon. So I'm thinking Asuka retains. And if she does, I mean, geez, I'm not even sure where they'd go from there. But I really do. I don't expect Asuka to lose the title this weekend. I'm expecting it's going to be a really great match. Brooklyn's going to bring it for that one. This is NXT's kind of WrestleMania, and I think that those ladies are just going to tear the house down. I'm really looking forward to that one. Equally as important, perhaps, is Bobby Roode defending the NXT Men's, the NXT World Championship against Drew McIntyre. Now, this is kind of an oddball situation because of the fact that Roderick Strong has not been added to this match. They've done a lot to build up Roderick Strong. He kind of has all the momentum on his side right now, and it's a little surprising they didn't add him to the match. But Drew McIntyre, I mean, you knew he was going to be going for the title right when he was sitting front row WrestleMania weekend. So you knew it was just a matter of when, not if, he was going to be getting the title match. These guys, got to give them both credit. Bobby Roode, he's an absolute star for WWE. He will be as soon as he's brought up, and I wouldn't be stunned to see him brought up sooner rather than later. Maybe even this weekend. Who knows? I'm throwing that out there. I don't know that matter-of-factly. But he's done a really great job with the title. I do actually see a title change happening here, though. Drew McIntyre, he's reinvented himself. In my opinion, he's done a really good job. He has everything. He has the look. He's decent on promos. He's good in the ring. Really reinvented himself and done a really strong job with that. So in doing so, I do expect a title change. I think Drew McIntyre walks away with the world title tomorrow if Roderick Strong is not added to the mix. If Roderick Strong is added to the mix, all bets are off. Then I think Roderick Strong wins the belt. But assuming they don't do a last-second change, then I'd be willing to say I think Drew McIntyre is your new NXT champion. Other matches on the show, 3 really good ones in my opinion. You have Sanity going up against the Authors of Pain. This match is kind of crazy because it's a really unique type match. I think these guys are all really interesting, and I think all of these guys are, you know, Authors of Pain still undefeated. You know that every champion right now in NXT is undefeated. I don't think any one of the 3 champs, Bobby Roode, Asuka, or Authors of Pain, are undefeated. So they might say, you know, oh, they don't act like wins and losses matter. They matter in NXT because every one of those champs is undefeated. And Authors of Pain, Sanity, I don't think Sanity is going to win the titles. I don't. I think Authors of Pain will continue their reign of dominance. I believe they need some more time down in NXT, probably more so than Sanity. But I'm expecting an absolute brawl. These guys, don't sleep on this match. I think these guys are going to tear the house down. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I think Authors of Pain keep the belts and continue the AOP reign of terror over the tag team division in NXT. Moving right along, Johnny Gargano, one of my personal favorites, going up against El Igalo, the Andrade Cien Almas. Andrade's been great. If you guys have been sleeping on Andrade Cien Almas, ever since he got Thea Trinidad in his corner, he has been a big-time piece of the NXT shows, all of the different NXT television tapings. He's been awesome. He's been great, and has continued to improve in the ring. And remember, this guy's only 28. Yes, he's been, he was El Sombra over around the world, and he's done a really good job, but he's going to be around for a while, and I see that he's starting to find his personality, and I think he's going to do really well for himself. That being said, Johnny Gargano is winning this match. I see a lot of big things for Johnny Gargano moving forward. He has the brand new music. He has the brand new song, which is totally kick-ass. He is just awesome in the ring. He does such a good job in becoming that, kind of that underdog role. When I first saw him take on Tommaso Ciampa in the CWC last year, I thought, wow, this guy can be the next Daniel Bryan type level star, and I really believe it. He does such a good job in getting the fans behind him and getting people into what he's doing. They don't call him Johnny Wrestling for nothing. That match, though, man, that one is right up there with a couple of the other, with the Fatal 4-Way and matches I'm pumped for, is Johnny Gargano and Andrade Cien Almas. These guys are great. These guys are all going to do a really good job. If they're given time, I can't put over that match enough. I can't wait for it, and I expect Johnny Gargano to come out victorious. I just see a lot more for him in NXT moving forward. Obviously, with Ciampa coming back at some point, you can even see him getting involved in the title picture somewhere down the line. Rounding out the card, last but certainly not least, Aleister Black against Hideo Itami. Speaking of guys who are finding their footing, Hideo Itami's been great since he's turned heel. He's shown a lot of, in my opinion, a lot of, he's been a lot of pizzazz. He's been a lot of intensity. His matches with Oney Lorcan have been great, who's another underrated guy down in NXT. So I think that match is something to really look forward to. I think they're going to do a really good job with that one. I expect Aleister Black to keep his undefeated streak going. I expect him to beat Hideo. But now is when things get interesting. This is a match to kind of pay attention to. Obviously, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, those guys have started to make their way and infiltrate NXT. Adam Cole is also infiltrating NXT. He just signed with WWE, and the belief is that he's going to be a part of NXT at any moment. And in doing so, who knows? Now you have that big three Ring of Honor guys. People have talked about, maybe you do something and bring into like a kind of a de facto. Obviously, they wouldn't call it a Ring of Honor invasion, but maybe you do something where these guys come in and do their thing, and maybe go after Aleister Black. Aleister Black had a great match with Kyle O'Reilly on NXT television not long ago, and it'll be interesting to see where they go from there. So I'm excited for it. There's always a bit of buzz when NXT does a new signing. There's always a bit of extra added buzz onto the show, and they've done that and accomplished that with one Adam Cole. So in any event, that's NXT TakeOver. Remember, they always do some fun stuff. I think they're starting the show at 7:15 tomorrow. The show doesn't actually start till 8, so make sure you get there. I heard they got some cool stuff prepared for the pre-show with a bunch of NXT alum. They're going to be doing a whole bunch of really fun activities for NXT TakeOver. This is really NXT's WrestleMania, so if you get there early, they usually record some television matches. So if you're bummed and you didn't get a chance to see guys that might not be on the main show, I'm sure they'll be on the television taping. 2 years ago, I remember Enzo and Cass came out during that television taping to open up the show, and the place went bananas. So it's going to be fun. NXT TakeOver tomorrow night on the WWE Network. That's going to do it for a very long edition of the Wrestling Drive. But we will be back, I'm sure, with an even longer edition of the Wrestling Drive later today while I'm on the commute home, because of the fact that we've got to break down SummerSlam. That's happening at the end of today. All the SummerSlam predictions, every match, we're going to talk about them. It's going to be fun, so make sure you check that out. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe button, because we're going to be updating this YouTube page several times over the weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. Until next time, everybody, take care, and you be well.